Let's go.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. So, good morning and welcome everybody. This is our joint webinar together with Trustpilot and Tweakwise. Today we will be talking all about product reviews and product discovery in your stores, all driving a conversion, of course. Today are joining Michelle and my colleague Paul. Let's start with a short introduction of yourself, guys, and a little background, and we'll take it from there. So, Michelle, go ahead, take it away.
Of course. So I'm very happy to be here this morning with you guys. My name is Michelle Wrede, or Michelle Reed, or in Danish, Michelle Rul. So all the above are okay. I'm actually based in Copenhagen, and I work for Trustpilot as the head of marketing for the mainly Benelux region, but I'm also focusing a bit more on Sweden lately and some of the Nordic countries. So I'm very happy to give you guys some tips today. So yeah, I've been here for around
thanks for joining us.
Years,
thanks for joining us.
Have some knowledge.
Well, thanks, Michelle. I can take over, Ronald, I think.
Sure, go ahead.
So my name is Paul. Also, I'm based in the Netherlands, working for Tweakwise as a business development manager. Very happy to be here today, and also from our side, happy to give some tips related more on the product discovery side of things, all related to conversion. And yeah, we'll explain a little bit more, of course, in some the next part of the webinar. But might be good also that you do a short introduction of yourself, Ronald.
Yeah, about myself, I might be the familiar face here at the webinar or the Tweakwise Tuesday talks. Working for Tweakwise, mainly active in sales and also active with product development a little bit. I have some practical tips as well for today. On the top of your screen, there's a chat option. Many already found it, sharing their locations and their excitement for today. So that's a good start. But to the right of it, there's also a Q&A section. That's a very structured way of, well, getting questions or getting topics into our webinar. I'm happy to address those questions towards Michelle or towards Paul. And then we are happy to, well, to at least answer all your questions. So please use the Q&A if you would like to, well, join the webinar and have some important questions for this panel. I think we're good to go. Most of our visitors have already joined. Let's get it started. Could you take it away, Paul?
Yeah, of course. But I'm going to ask you to take it away, because we will start with a short introduction of our companies, and I ask you to do that on our side. And after that,
yeah. Why not? Why not?
Tell a little bit.
I can surely do that.
Right.
Well, as mentioned, Tweakwise is a search and product discovery suite. Many of us might already know us. We are market leader here in the Netherlands and the Benelux. We have over 400 customers, serve lots of channels, as you can see, lots of store views, and mainly all over Europe. Tweakwise is a SaaS solution. We aim at B2C and B2B solutions. And we also have an office in Sweden, in Stockholm, actually. So that's also our Nordic link, I would say. We are part of Optimizers Group. And well, this webinar will be together with our Trustpilot partner. So yeah, I think we're good to go. That's enough for now regarding Tweakwise.
Well, I really love to be here with you guys. I think your product is really cool, honestly. Like, just like really having those categories and optimizations on the website is so crucial, I think, for any customer journey. So I'm here, of course, from Trustpilot. I think one of the things that is very interesting about Trustpilot is most people kind of know us as like a review platform, and I think part of it is that we, of course, are a review platform. We're kind of there as the voice of the consumer, but on the other hand, we also have like so many things that people don't always think about, and I kind of want to like talk about that with you guys. And it's really like more the marketing and the optimization and all those things that you can actually do on your web shops or on your web pages. So I really hope to talk a bit more about that, and specifically the product reviews today with you guys.
All right. Thank you, Michelle. So I think that's all about the introductions for today. So let's really kick off the webinar. For now, today's topic is how product reviews and product discovery increase conversion. So it's going to be all about conversions today. As said, it's partly reviews and partly product discovery, but we saw also preparing this webinar actually that there are a lot of similarities and a lot of, let's say, elements within your shop that you can optimize that has both connections with Trustpilot, with reviews, but also with Tweakwise, with product discovery. We'll not talk about Tweakwise too much, but we'll talk about product discovery and optimizations in general. But of course, please know that we are there also to be able to do this on your shop if you have one. What are we going to do today? You see it also on the screen, is we are going to follow a customer journey in search of these conversion optimizations. So we will take iGo Promo, which is a joint customer of Trustpilot and Tweakwise, and we will go through a customer journey and look at the optimizations they did, but also give some examples on how we believe you should do it, and also provide you with some good tips, tricks, and some insights on what this optimization can bring you. Again, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A, and Ronald will take full care of this. Just some short information first on the product discovery. You see a lot of things happening on the screen, and that's just because we know that all customer journeys are different. So by optimizing all different parts on-site and off-site, you are able to optimize your conversion for all the visitors that you have on your shop. So one person starts with an off-site search on Google, for example, but the other ones will come organically to your shop. And in this slide, I want to highlight a little bit, okay, every customer journey is different. So you should be able, so you should focus, let's say, on all the different elements to optimize when it comes to conversion. As said, today we will follow just one customer journey, and it's the one of this lady that will start with Google search. Then we'll go to a product search on site. So after that, we will go within the category pages. Some guided selling will come back as well, which is also part of the product discovery. And after that, we will go to the product page and the checkout event eventually. Just one thing good to mention, maybe, what is product discovery? Product discovery, what we see it, how we see it within Tweakwise, is everything that has to do with searching and finding the right products as soon as possible, as fast as possible, to be able to increase your conversions on your shop, but also outside. And yeah, we will start with offsite search, which is in Google. And Michelle, I think you will talk us through it to the next video. And good to mention there as well that we will focus on iGo Promo, and we'll go through some videos of the customer journey, and we'll give you some tips and tricks after that as well.
Definitely. So basically, as mentioned, like we can pretend I'm the customer, and in this case, I'm looking actually for like some notebooks. So I think there's a couple of things that we're already seeing here directly, and that's like the Google Shopping aspect, of course, which in this case is sponsored. It says so on the top, but there's also like some organic results as well. And the organic results are actually showing us some really interesting things because it's going into like a general category page. So I think one of the things that is very noticeable for me as like a searcher is actually like all the different options and like also the reviews that we're seeing. But I just clicked on like the organic link, which actually went to a category page. So I think having this is really like an interesting point where you can kind of see, okay, where is that comparison? Like you can kind of see, like if we go to the next slide, maybe you can kind of see actually those two aspects, which are like the Google Shopping side, and then we also have the Google Search side. And something that I think is very noticeable and a lot of people don't actually think about, but is like that social proof aspect that really kind of, if people are actually looking to buy, they really want to have that certainty and that certainty aspect as well to actually get to that conversion. So something that is really, really smart to do if you are searching or working on selling your products on Google is, of course, making sure that their page is like Google proof, that like everything that Google asks is there organically. And one of those aspects is the reviews. So if you are working with a Google partner like Trustpilot is, of course, then you'll actually see also that you can get those reviews in there organically as well as in your ads. So I just wanted to show this one as an example as well as like, does that actually help, right? Those reviews in the Google ads. So this is one of our other customers and we tested it with them. Or actually they shared our results, so I was super happy that they did that. And what we actually saw is that generally their conversion on ads without stars, so these are the paid ads, was around 4%. Whereas if they actually had it with the star, so Google lets you test a lot of these things, right? It was actually 6%. And on top of that, they actually got less average cost per click. So having this and actually having that social proof within this first start of the journey where people are searching for the product is really nice benefit to have. So I just wanted to go through that first part of the funnel with you guys. I think the next part of the funnel is for Paul. Is that correct?
Definitely.
Yeah.
So what we saw in the previous video is that the customer journey started on Google and then entering the web shop of the online store of the customer, or in this case our customer, which is iGoPromo. And then once you are on the shop, you can, for example, start a search. You can go to the category page and so on. In this customer journey, we will focus on product search. Product search is used a lot. I think before I start the movie, good to mention is that within B2C, we see that in general, around 10 to 30% of the visitors use the product search on the site. Within B2B, this is much higher. It's 60 to 80%, sometimes even higher. So also for you guys, it might be good to look it up and see what this percentage is on your shop. And we always say within Tweakwise, if you are starting with optimization on site, always start with the product search. And I will explain you a little bit about that later on. But I will talk you through this video first. Here you can see a customer first browsing the homepage, some recently few products. We'll come back to that later. But he decides to do a search on the shop, where you can see some suggestions, some product suggestions, but also some category suggestions, which will help already determining where he wants to go on the shop. Now he places a search, and you might not see it, but it is a typo within the search, but still you want to have the good results back from the search engine. So this is something that Tweakwise can offer, but in generally, I want to say to you that things like these, like synonyms, typos, and so on, will have a great impact on conversion in general. Well, here we are on the search result page, and it's not about the results only, but it's also about the sorting within these search results. And here you can see you can even sort, for example, on highest rate. And there we come to, of course, to the Trustpilot part of things, where you can, for example, sort on the highest rated products. Good also to mention is, of course, it's important what the search engine gives back. So the search results should be good. There should be no zero results, but also, as mentioned already, the sorting, but also the filtering on the left side is really important. So what filters do I show you? What filters are on top? What filters do I hide maybe? And stuff like these things you really need to think about when you talk about conversion, because it's all about relevance. So what relevant filters do I want to show to be able to filter to the right products as soon as possible? And what I already mentioned is that we always start with site search as an optimization within your online store. And why is that? Because we see that the users of site search have a 5 times higher conversion compared to the other store visitors. So you can imagine if only 10 to 30% of your visitors are using site search, however, they are converting much higher, we see that they might be responsible for 50 to 60% of the turnover of your shop. So if you are able to optimize your search to increase the results of your search engine on your shop, you will be able to increase conversions as well. And actually what we see within our customers overall is that once search is improved, you are able to increase your conversion with over 18%. And also we see that if a visitor knows that your search is optimized and that it works well, 14% more visitors are using it. So this will have, let's say, a multiplying effect on the conversion as well.
And what I also think is really cool here, just to interrupt you really quickly, is we actually saw in the beginning, of course, the first step of this funnel of this specific customer was extremely high intent, because she's really looking for one specific item. And then also this actually pulls through in the site search, because here she's also showing extremely high intent with searching for specific items. So I think having that is really showing that your customer is in that high intent phase as well. Yeah,
and I think that already explains as well why the conversion in search is is so high. So it's important to make sure that if they place a real specific search phrase, in this case notebook, for example, that you really get notebooks back. And even if you, for example,
it will be a bit weird if you get a pen.
Of course, but it happens, believe me. So
it happens for sure.
And even when you, for example, add a color, so a notebook blue, you really want to have blue notebooks, and this is something. It sounds really small, but this is really important when you talk about conversions and helping the customer find the product.
Maybe it's good, Paul, to elaborate a bit more on how the search funnel, so to say, can be tweaked within the Tweakwise app as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well,
so you always stay on top of that game.
What we see is that, for example, the difference between B2C and B2B is that there is always different way of searching. So within Tweakwise, in this case, we are able to funnel the way we search through a product catalog. So, for example, within B2B, we see a lot of numerical search. So, for example, on EAN codes or SKUs. And after that, within B2C, it's more like words. So blue jeans or blue notebook, for example. And we are able to funnel these kind of search phrases within your shop to be able to come with the most specific matching search results, even on attributes, for example. So where you see in general search engines of, for example, Magento or Shopify shop, it's more like a generic fuzzy search. So you get a lot of different results back. Within Tweakwise, we're able to funnel this really to say, okay, we search on these and these attributes, on color, on size, and on, for example, on the title, and that's it. And then we were able to give back real specific results in the end.
Nice.
Yeah. All right. Good. We'll continue our journey within the shop of iGoPromo, and let's imagine that the one person visiting the store did a search, as we saw in the previous video, and after that really thought, okay, still not what I'm looking for. I want to be a little bit more inspired, and you go on to the category pages. And actually, the category page looks a lot like the search result page in general. So also there we will going to talk about about sorting and about filtering. So here you can also see we're currently still on the search result page, and now the customer is browsing, and we'll go to the specific notebook category page. And here it is really important when we talk about conversion is what products do I show on top and what products do I show lower in the order, let's say. And this is extremely important, not only for conversion, but also for you as a company to be able to steer what kind of products you want to promote a little bit more and what kind of products you want to show on this category page. So you're not talking only about conversion, but you can even think about, okay, what kind of product have more margin and what kind of products do I want to push a little bit higher to be able to sell to the customer. Also here, a good example of iGoPromo where you see they can sort on reviews. So this might be something you can elaborate on a little bit more, Michelle.
So actually, like it's quite unique with this customer. I think that he's showing this, like it's not something that I have seen super much before, but I think it is really interesting because obviously when we're actually looking at the category page and you will filter on a lot of different important factors, which can be anything depending on like whatever you're selling. So I'm guessing like, for example, if I would be buying a notebook, probably I would get like search on, is the color nice? Will it kind of fit what I expect? Like, what is the size? Those kind of things as well. But obviously I also want to filter, and especially I would say for products that are more expensive, I would definitely also want to filter, or if you're buying in bulk or these kind of things, I would definitely also want to be able to see like which ones are actually performing well. And I think in this case with iGoPromo is that they're actually like choosing their categories in a very smart way, and they're actually using their reviews very well because they're actually pushing items up based on either the number of reviews that they are having, but also like the star score that they're having for that specific review. So within the category page, they're actually changing the order as well, I think, is what you guys have decided on together to really optimize and use those reviews as well. So I think
I can
really
even show in some of the next slides on how we do that. Actually, it's not an example of Iger Promo itself, but actually, first I want to mention is if you are able to optimize your category pages. And when we talk about optimizing your category page, actually we talk about online shelf layout. So what order do I give to the products to be able to sell better? So it should be relevant products for the visitor, of course. So for example, based on popularity, you can sort, but also it should be relevant for you yourself. I'll give an example on the next slide as well. But what we see is in general that you see an uplift of 12% in conversion if you are able to optimize your online shelf layout, because we all know eye level is buy level. That's the same in the supermarket, for example. So everything that's on eye level will be sold better. And that's not different when you talk about category pages of your store. So if you are able to put relevant products on the first page and best on top of the first page, definitely you will increase in conversion, but also you are able to increase, for example, in margin and in the end in profit. And a good example, and of course, because we are today with Trustpilot here, is to sort based on reviews as well. So you can put this, and that's why I wanted to show this slide as well. You can put this in a cocktail where you say, okay, I think margin is important, I think popularity of a product is important, and I think reviews is very important. You give a certain weight to it, and this is a screen from how Tweakwise works in this case. And based on this, you will get the most optimal sorting based on relevant parameters and relevant analytics and data. And by doing this, again, you are able to increase conversion overall of our customers with 12%. But of course, we see high numbers as well in this part. Yeah.
And could we say, Paul, that basically on user-generated content or user-generated feedback, the category pages are automatically optimized?
Yeah, of course. That has two ways. Of course, you can make it really personalized. Well, let's not talk about that today because it's a little bit more, too much detail maybe. But if somebody is looking for personalization here in this room, definitely we can talk about that as well. But when you only take Google Analytics data, for example, it will be already optimized based on how much a product is clicked on or how much it's viewed or how much it's bought even. So based on that, you are able to sort your category page again, to be more relevant and in the end, make sure that you sell products that the customer is looking for, but also sell products that you want to sell in the end.
Yeah, nice.
All right.
So I think this is also, on my cue again, because there's a couple of things that really make a huge impact also on the category page if we're talking reviews. And as kind of Paul just showed also, it's partially showing like the popularity and also like the how the user is actually like working and how they're actually buying, but it's also that aspect of like the social influence and like how are users actually influenced. So first off, it's like that first shelf layout, but then there's also like the thing where we're looking at like subconsciously, right? We're looking at number of reviews, we're looking at if the score is actually good, like those kind of things. And I really wanted to show this because we did this test with a customer as well, and they actually did the test with a neuromarketing agency. So they're really looking at the subconscious behaviors of the consumer. And what they actually show here, and this is like a combo test, is they actually changed the button on the category page. So you can see it's a lot more noticeable. It's also like a bit more condensed. So it's a lot nicer to look at in first shelf. But then you also see that they added like the reviews there. So someone can immediately see how many people bought it and how they were liking it. And these kind of things are very good and very convincing in actually wanting to buy something and feeling like that it's, trustworthy to get it, because it's something that I think we all don't want to know. At least I'm always like, no, I don't get influenced, but I know I do, like subconsciously. And I think these kind of tests like this kind of prove it, because here, for example, in this case, the left side without social proof, without the extra visual, without making it a bit tighter in terms of design, versus the right side. The right side actually gave like 15% higher conversion, which is a lot of higher conversion on a category page. So very good tip. Test it out for yourself. Number of reviews, add the score, add just the stars, those kind of things. as well to see what works best for your websites.
Yeah, great insight actually.
Yeah. All right, I think we're going to the next page also. Yeah.
We're going to the next one. This is just a tip. Check out the full video online. Ronald, I think you will share the link in the chat.
I'll share the link.
Our customer, iGo Promo, they told about Trustpilot reviews on their category pages, but also within their search. So a great combination between Tweakwise and Trustpilot in this case. And they also tell you, of course, how they do it. So please, after this webinar, take a look at the full video, and then we'll continue to the next part of our customer journey, which is guided selling. And actually, guided selling, just to give you a brief overview of what it is advising the customer on your online store, giving them the confidence of buying a certain product. So also there you see that it's really related also to reviews, because also reviews gives some social proof, as Michelle also mentioned, some confidence in, okay, this is the product I want to buy. And guided selling will take this a little bit further as well, where you, based on questions and answers, give an advice of a product that suits the situation of the certain visitors. I cannot give you an example of iGo Promo because they are not using a guided selling tool, but that's why we give an example of Daco, which is a customer of ours within the Netherlands. Because it's winter now, I took the samples of skis for today. And here you can see that the customer is visiting the stores. There's a lot of options here. So they don't really know, okay, what to buy. They don't know what to filter on. So they start to decide to go for a guided selling option. And here you ask some questions. Currently there are only 4 questions, but you can even make this more, of course. And you end up with a certain product selection. In this case, only 3 that match your answers, let's say. So in this case, you know, okay, in my situation, the product that I'm looking for is within these 3 products, and the chance of them buying these products is extremely high. So what we see is that those that use these kind of guided selling tooling on your shop have an average of 2 times higher conversion in this case. Although you have to, of course, steer them towards these kind of tooling to be able to get these conversion increase. But it is good to see that you are able to give them the confidence of buying these kind of products. And I can imagine that if you add, Michelle, if you add reviews to that as well, that this will be even more higher, and they are able to choose even better the product that they are looking for. One thing I want to show you as well is the reason behind the guided selling. So why is it important to have it? And when is it important to have it? Well, it's important when you have a lot of products on your shop, but it's getting more important even when, for example, your product is more of technical nature or a higher price in this case. So what we see is that 46 or almost half of the customers have failed to complete a purchase online due to these overwhelming choice, due to too much choices, too much products. And we call this the paradox of choice, as you can see it. And by using a guided selling tool on your shop, by guiding them to a right product, you can take this away and increase your conversions again. Yeah.
Interesting. I think what you're saying is so right. Like, I mean, in the case of iGo Promo, it's notebooks. So, but if it's a bit more like technical, like for example, if I would need to. I'm just talking from my own experience as a marketeer as well. Like if I would need to, for example, set up a stand, then what exactly do I need in terms of height? How would that exactly look? Like those kind of things, or do I want to rebuild the stand at a later moment? Like those kind of technical questions, like something like this would work very well. I can imagine as well. Yeah.
Thanks. Interesting. All right. Further into the journey, we're going to product detail. And I think, maybe Michelle, you can talk through it because it's I think also related.
Yeah, definitely. I think also what we're seeing on this page is a lot of very interesting things, right? Like we're showing a lot of different options, or the customer is showing a lot of different options. There's some social proof. There's like instant choices that you can make, product details. We actually saw some reviews in the bottom, but we also saw some in the top earlier. You can filter based on language, based on country, so you can really find what fits best with this customer as well. But then we're also seeing some like recommendations. So there's also some other notebooks that might be another interesting option as well, right? And then here it's not guided, but it's kind of like the basic version of guided, I would say. You have like those kind of extra steps that you kind of want to have an answer to actually really lead to this segment here as well. I think a couple of things that we're not really showing here, but I think are also very, very interesting. So I just wanted to highlight that as well. We actually also have the option, and I think a lot of people don't know this, and it's also not showing in this video, to actually add images to your reviews. And I think this is extremely strong in terms of the product page, because something that we're seeing in this product page is it's a lot of our own content as the company. But actually, like, we see that a lot of content that if it's user generated, so if it's actually coming from the end customer, such as, for example, the reviews, but also like images can actually be a huge addition, because then maybe someone can actually show it on their desk and you can see, oh, this is actually the size, you know, because like normally I'm like 20 centimeters is like, you know, like a bit like this. So having like those kind of user generated content where actually the user themselves are posting these things, in any type of shop, like clothes, especially furniture, like those kind of items, like where you're really practically needing to kind of see them in a space. You sometimes have the option also, is like some shops are already doing this as well, to kind of place it in a space, for example, which is really smart. But also having those user generated contents where you can actually see it in different types of spaces is super valuable, because then it gives so much more of like an idea of like what practically something like that looks like. Mm-hmm. So also having those things of user generated content are very interesting additions, as well as recommendations that you might have, like those kind of things as well. So just wanted to also talk about it. It's a little bit of a side note, but I think it's really interesting.
It is.
Topic that not a lot of people talk about. Yeah.
It builds even more trust towards the visitor, right?
100%.
Seeing some images from other users, let's say, other visitors.
Exactly, definitely. I mean, just to go back into the event space, if I take a photo, if they ask me for a recommendation, I take a photo of the stand. I love it. You know, that would be super convincing, I would say, too.
Clear. Yeah, I agree. Furthermore, about product detail, I think you mentioned it as well, and it was in the video, recommendations. Always good for some up and cross-selling on the product detail page. Actually, on iGo Promo, they're coming from Tweakwise, these recommendations. They are based on some business rulings, so what kind of products are suitable with these products, or even some upselling, so some more expensive, so higher margined products. So good to see that they're on this page as well. Including the reviews, by the way, so that was good to see. And of course, you can use recommendations not only on product detail, but also on the homepage, more like featured products. But also, as you can see here, within the add to basket, you still see some recommendations coming from Tweakwise, where you say, okay, also think about this product to add to your basket. And actually, nice to know is that using these kind of recommendations, especially in product detail and checkout part, will increase the add to carts with 80%. So you will have 80% more add to carts when you are using recommendations. And what we see a lot actually at customers that previously, before they started working with recommendations, for example, from Tweakwise, that they had to make a lot of one-on-one relations within these products. So if they have new products coming in, they had to make a one-on-one relation, say, okay, on this product detail page, I want to show this product. That's a lot of time, a lot of work, and actually you need and want to take this away and do this automatically. And so that's not only about conversion, but it will also be a lot more efficient within your own working environment. That I wanted to mention as well from our side, and I think you still have some nice insights.
Exactly. So I think was something that we were talking about earlier, and so a couple of things actually is like, of course, we just went through the part of the journey already with our person that we should have actually named, I think, but they searched, then they actually came on the organic, then they actually went to search on the website, then they landed on like the overview. And now they're on this product page where they're also getting a lot of additional recommendations. So I just wanted to go through that journey one more time to kind of actually think, okay, that's where we were in this journey, of course. And now we're thinking about the buying, or almost at the checkout is full on buying, of course. But something that I wanted to give also in as a tip next to having those recommendations as well in there is we also have that same idea of the fold again, right? Like the first parts of like the category page where we're saying that's like the shelf. Here you kind of have the same again. You have like the image. I actually scrolled down a little bit. I clicked on reviews and then you come to this section basically, or went down to descriptions. That's what you're seeing on these two examples. But in these two examples, you're actually also seeing again, like a lot of information on the left. So this is kind of trying to tell exactly the user, this is what you need, this is what you would like, etc. On the right, though, what they did is they kind of hid a bit of the information so you can click on it. But they actually put the reviews and that social proof up a little bit. So that is also user-generated content, right? If we're talking about just the written, not specifically a photo. But what they did is they actually put that up. So it's really important on like where you place things on your product page so that you can get those optimal results. And I think having that social proof a little bit higher versus too much text maybe can also really make sure that you increase those conversions as well. So test those things out on your website. Like where should you place these things? Where should you place the recommendations that maybe you get via Tweakwise, but also where you're going to place that social proof on your website, both above the fold as well as slightly below it, to kind of see exactly where are people going to. If you maybe use Hotjar or something like heat maps, you can see a bit more like where people are like maybe stopping, you know, kind of have there that recommendation or have there like the social proof to kind of make sure that you're actually placing it in places where people might drop off. So yeah, on the left, text. On the right, we were talking about a bit more social proof. And I also wanted to give these tips because I think this is something that's really interesting. It's actually, I think it was a Danish customer as well. And here we looked at also different sizes of that. So how many products are you going to recommend, but also how big should your social proof be? So this is a test that we did also with one of our customers. And what you actually see is on the left, there's a little bit more information, right? Like it's a bit more clear exactly. The focus is really on the review stars. So also that aspect, like, are you going to focus on the review stars? Are you going to focus on the number as well? Like those kind of things make quite an impact because as you see on the left, having that focus on the review stars on this desktop added 2.4 extra conversion versus on the right, we still see an improvement in conversion, but actually the smaller widget worked less well. So even thinking about those things, like how are you going to place that social proof? How should the social proof even look is very important. If you go to the next page, this I think is a really, really interesting learning. And I think this is something I really wanted to tell you guys as well. We've been showing you the customer journey on desktop, but we all know that actually a lot of people are really focused on mobile, and especially if it's like the B2C type of web shops, it's a lot of stuff is happening on mobile first. So super interesting thing on mobile, if we're talking, and this is just a general tip I wanted to give you guys, on mobile, if you're thinking social proof and thinking anything in the journey, think least distracting. So here, for example, we actually saw an uplift on the left with 2%, where you see the social proof. Again, this is the same as that we did actually on the desktop, but here we see the opposite, right? The right one is a lot less distracting, so it's a lot smaller, but we're still showing the social proof. You're still showing it's a safe source where you're getting the social proof from. You're also still showing all of that, but the right one actually converted so much better because it has less of a distraction from the actual button. So that's a really good learning. I think that you should definitely implement.
Great insight indeed. All right.
Maybe before we go to the checkout area and the final stage of the product discovery, we have a few questions coming in. One of those are asking, hey, what's actually the difference between a product review and a company review? Ooh. And well, especially based those on Trustpilot, of course. Maybe you can explain a bit more, Michelle.
So great question. I can't believe I did not talk about this before. It's like the most obvious thing. So if we're actually talking about company reviews or service reviews versus product reviews, it's a very clear difference. Product reviews is actually something that on Trustpilot itself, it's only possible to send it out after someone actually bought something. So product reviews will never come in organically. They're always basically sent out after a purchase. Mm-hmm. So they're linked to a unique user. They're linked maybe even to a unique order. And then you will always try to send it out after someone. I would never actually send it out after someone just bought it, but after someone receives the item or the service, because then they're going to actually have their happy moment, right? They're not going to be like, okay, I didn't receive my product yet, so I don't know what to say about the product yet. So also, like, when you're actually going to send out product reviews is different than the company reviews, which I'll go into in a minute. But product reviews is really about the product. How is it working for you? How are you going to handle? How did it work? How is it looking, etc., etc. Versus if you're talking company reviews, or I think we actually call it a bit more service reviews. This is like reviews that you will get organically because people might not be happy with your customer service, or they might not be, anything. But of course, you can also invite based on specific moments when people are interacting with your company. So maybe after a customer service moment, you send them an invite as well. Or when they just bought the product, you can also do it. But then, hey, how was the experience on the website? And then we're talking a lot more about how was your company doing versus how is your product actually. So that's, I think, the biggest difference.
Gotcha.
If it's
Thanks.
not clear, let me know. I'm always happy to chat more.
For me, it's clear.
Yeah, all clear. And Wout also has a question regarding guided selling, the topic we discussed before.
Yep.
How much choices would a customer have to be able to choose for a specific product in the guided selling process to make it effective in a way? Maybe you can give some guidance there, Paul?
I can give some guidance. I think actually the example we gave is extremely fitting on that part. I think 3, maximum 5 would be the way to go there. It depends a little bit on the product, probably on the price of the product as well. But I would say go for 3 to 5 products to avoid that still there is a lot of confusion and still they don't know what to buy in this case. And actually research always is saying, okay, 3 choices in the end will be the best one. You have an expensive one on the one hand, and you have a cheap one on the other hand. So 3 to 5, I will stick with that answer.
Yeah. And the same goes actually for the questions themselves, right? So don't make a full questionnaire of, let's say, 10 questions. Maybe just 4 or 5 questions to get to
really think about. So the time is working on these kind of guided selling questionnaires is really about, okay, what kind of questions do I want to ask that are real specific for this product, and indeed keep it as short as possible. But also on the other end, make sure that you will end up with the 3 to 5 products. So this always goes hand in hand a little bit, I believe.
Yeah, agree. Yeah. Thanks for your question, Wout. And for those who have questions, we have the Q&A section, so please feel free to use it. We can address them at the end of the webinar as well.
Yeah. All right. I think we can move on in the customer journey. Also looking at the time, because we are running out of time, and we would like to talk about this for hours, but we have to continue on that part. And I think, Michelle, shopping carts is definitely a part that is related to Trustpilot as well.
Yeah, definitely. If we click, so basically, of course, we're coming to our end of our journey. So we Google search, we done everything, we went to the product page, and now we have decided that we are going for this product. And actually something that you're seeing here is still a lot of recommendations. You see more social proof in the bottom. You actually see a tiny widget for Trustpilot, but you're also seeing a little bit of a confirmation of like, when can I expect to have it arrived? You're seeing like this safety of like, Visa and like those payment details as well that are actually like known and everybody uses. So here you actually really want to have that additional safety and that additional proof, because this is like the biggest point where people drop off, right? Where they actually need to spend their money. So you really want to have that point, the least amount of distraction, the most like points where you can actually tell them this is safe without being overly in their face about it. So having really those additional points there are, I would say, very crucial here. I want to show one more example as well of one of the customers and how he actually added it very like subtly and nice. I think now he also did it differently, but this was when we tested it. And on the left, you actually just see the standard one, the original one that he had. And on the right, you can see those 3 little pointers in the bottom, where one of them is like the social proof. And I think one of the other ones was like, it's a bit too small for me to see on my laptop, but I think it was also on like when people can actually expect the delivery, etc. So you see here, having those additional safety points, including some of the social proof, it increased their conversion with almost 4.5%. So that is a really nice bonus to have in your shopping cart, of course.
All right.
Yeah.
Thanks for that. I think we are at the end of the customer journey, meaning we are at the end of the webinar. I
think we're buying. At least I'm going to buy a notebook.
I saw a lot of conversion increases, so probably we're buying indeed. Yeah, I would like to say thank you, but maybe there are some questions, Ronald, that we
there are 2 more questions left, and that's maybe nice to wrap up this webinar. One about somebody who's selling supplements and they are not allowed to have claims in their reviews. How could this be handled, Michelle? Have you any experience from
Definitely. So with Trustpilot, we work with like any category. We work with banking, we work with web shops, and we work with like anything fashion, furniture, electronics, but also supplements. And this is a very common knowledge, I would say, that in the supplements industry and health industry in general, you're not allowed legally to have claims. So a claim can be, I got better, or I got a headache from whatever, or I lost a lot of weight, like those kind of claims, just to give a bit more context to the people who are not in this industry. A very dangerous aspect about product reviews for supplements is actually that people will very often write a claim if it's regarding the product, because you're reviewing the product. So I actually have 2 recommendations. If you're doing an invite, so if you're actually asking people for product recommendations, which you could still do because you can still learn a lot from it as well, either show just the stars and the score and the number of people that bought it, and just use the content for your own feedback and your own optimizations. That's actually my biggest recommendation. So don't actually show everything, or just show your favorite ones, if possible. I think with product reviews, we usually push all of them. So I would just say don't show the written content, but just focus on the stars and the number of people that bought it instead, to still show that social proof and still show that people bought it via like a safe platform and And another tip that I have as well is, if you're asking for it and you do really want to show the text as well, in your invite, add a bit where you're explaining the claims and how not to write, so that actually you can kind of hopefully take out the ones that, or prevent that people will write the claim. So those are 2 tips that I can give.
Very helpful. Yeah. And one a bit more strategical, technical, Paul, regarding the sorting options. Somebody's asking like, hey, should I give priority to my products with a 4.9 or a 5.9 star rating, or are they too high or hence not credible? I know, for example, when you watch the video from Carlo from Igo Promo, he explains that they actually have a whole formula behind what products to show and how they rank them, not only taking into account the star ratings, but also the amount of reviews they received and in what time periods. So there should be some pretty logic behind it, what products to push, I think. So definitely take care that it's not a single review, for example, because I think that's not credible indeed.
No, indeed, I agree on that part. Nothing to add on that side, Ron.
Yeah, I also want to add maybe something there in terms of like reviews and the scoring, because I think that's probably some question that a lot of consumers will have. is like, how is it actually that some, like, maybe you have like 100 5-stars and maybe like, let's say 3 1-stars, for example. But then maybe you just have a 4.4. It's like a really bad calculation. I don't know the exact calculations, but like, how does that work? And actually, indeed, as you mentioned, it often depends on the number of reviews, but also the recency of the reviews.
Yeah.
So the ones that are very recent. So let's say those 100 reviews, they were all written 3 years ago, and the 3 ones, they're actually 3 1-star ones are actually written today. Then those 3 ones will actually weigh very heavy because they're recent, they're new content, they're actually relevant now versus the 100 ones that were written 3 years ago. So I think that really impacts also like your trust score as well. If we're talking from a Trustpilot point of view, we're really looking for from the consumer point to really show the recency as well as the most relevancy.
Yeah, it's good to know you take it into account as well. Yeah. All right, thanks for joining, everybody. I think that's a wrap for today. Lots of insights in, well, good improvements left and right in the store. And I see, Paul, you have one more thing left.
Yeah, well, actually, we will be from the Netherlands. We will be in Sweden the 6th and 7th of March this year. Not sure, Michelle, if Trustpilot is there as well, but we will be on the Congress with a booth. So if you have any questions about Tweakwise or how to integrate it on your platform, on your online store, please come by. We'll drink a cup of coffee and we'll explain everything what we can do for you.
Nice.
That's a good closing.
We're actually not there, but feel free to reach out to us online. We will also be in some other events in Denmark and Sweden in March as well. I can maybe send that in an email so everybody's up to date.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah, good. Thanks for joining us, Michelle.
Thank you so much, everybody. Yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for joining in. Have a nice day.
For hanging on for an hour. See you also.
The diehards still.
Yeah, the diehards.
All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
Bye.